In your opinion, has race relations improved or gotten worse under this administration?
I think things have actually gotten worse.
Worse.
Worse. Yes.
Worse. Okay.
You know, there's surface, and then there's kind of a deeper place. I still believe the arc of history has moved us dramatically forward in terms of race relations and other things with the election of this president, and just in general with more modern times. But I think it has brought a lot of things to the surface that in some cases were sort of repressed or kept below the surface during the campaign and then sort of exploded. You know, it's been pretty shocking for me. I think that to hear on the phones and at meetings, people just say horribly racist stuff in perfectly polite society. Now, it's also important to note, though, that in no way is it fair or accurate to say that anyone who's a critic of the Democrats or a critic of the president is racist. There are a lot of good people who are not at all racist who are out there who simply disagree and disagree vehemently.
But we know that there are some people who absolutely don't like the fact that there's a black president in office.
And the fact that we even debate that when you, I mean, you have emails, you have pictures, you have people getting spat on. You have the, you know, I mean, the number of times I've heard the N-word in the last couple of years during this has been shocking. So again, it would just be ridiculously naive to suggest that racism is not a component among some of the critics of the president. It would be also naive to suggest or dismiss the criticisms of the president as being fundamentally driven by that.
Right.
So that's the reality we got to live in. And so I think that, you know, the way we do that, we've always got to keep talking. We've got to keep communicating, and I think, you know, call it out when we see it.
So what's your commitment to racial equity?
Well, first of all, again, I think on the simplest level, I think of it in terms of every kid born in America should have the chance to live up to their full potential. Some people are going to waste that opportunity, but they should have a chance at a decent education. They should have a chance at decent health care, you know, in their younger years, a chance to go to college or trade school. That's an important element of what this country was about, which was equal opportunity. And it was not something that was born perfect. We know all too well that it was not. Right. But the standard was set, and it's the job of each generation of Americans to get us closer to that ideal and to never see it as a static thing. In terms of race relations here, I think part of what, you know, again, what we have to do is we got to show up, we got to communicate, and you got to do a lot of different things. I mean, we have in Danville, we have a rising gang problem. And I went out and was part of a midnight march through areas where kids had been shot and killed, and went with black faith leaders as well as the police chief to just walk through these neighborhoods at night and take a stand and say, you know, it is not acceptable to us. And I remember one of the first events I did when I was getting into politics. It was a march. This was a daytime march. We later did a late night march. And, you know, I was hearing the speech because this little girl in Danville had been shot through a window by a stray bullet. And I had to ask myself the question, am I reacting with the same outrage, the same urgency to this story as I would if it had been my own niece or if it had been someone in my own neighborhood? And I think if the answer to that isn't yes, then we've got to do some work ourselves to care about this and not see it as their problem or your problem. This is our problem. And we have to see it that way, and we have to engage with that. So, you know, to me, we really have to challenge ourselves to see whether we're living up to that standard. Okay,
so you were saying in all of that, you're not one to court the black vote around re-election time. You are in the trenches all the time.
I feel I am. I think that's my reputation at this point. You know, again, I think that comes from repetition. People are. I remember when, you know, that when I first started showing up places, you know, people push back hard, and they should. And where are you going to be in a month? Are we going to see you in a month? And a month later, I came back, and a month after that, I came back again. And so, you know, I think that for the most part, people feel that way. But everyone's got to make their own judgment. You know, I think that about that. But, you know, I feel like I have definitely worked hard, and I definitely have tried to not take any group for granted.
Okay. We only have a few minutes left, but it's unfortunate I couldn't get to all of the questions, but we had quite a number of questions for the congressman. And so perhaps we can have you back on after the elections or something. But one more question before we actually close out, and this is, the question says, how can Congressman Perriello support tax increases on families and businesses that will take effect on January 1st when our economy is struggling to recover? How do you reconcile your report for tax increases how do you support your support for tax increases?
Well, I've actually been supporting tax cuts. It's my opponent, Senator Hurt, that has supported the tax increases. He supported 27 tax increases in the Virginia legislature, and he's already committed to a tax increase that would hit 16,000 small businesses in my district. Senator Hurt has gone back and forth on taxes so many times. I have consistently been for tax breaks for the working and middle class. We did that in the tough economic times of a year and a half ago, and I think we need to do that again. We have an immediate short-term need to get economic relief to working and middle class families. We have a medium-term need to get our fiscal house in order. And I think that the future tax cuts have to be evaluated in the context of balancing the budget. We're a few weeks away from a report on how to get to a balanced budget that this bipartisan report is doing. I think immediate tax relief for the working and middle class is important. That's what we've supported. My opponent, Senator Hurt, unfortunately, has been on the other side of that and seems to just not get it in terms of what families are going through. He's been against extending the unemployment benefits, even though he represents an area with one of the highest unemployment rates in the state.
And what area is that?
In Southern Virginia, in the sort of Danville, Chatham, Pennsylvania area. Other Republicans from that area did support the extension. Senator Hurt didn't, supported the outsourcing. So, he's just out of touch, which happens when he's been in politics that long, and he's, sort of taken the path of least resistance, which always means you protect the powerful. But I think what we've seen in the other direction is those of us who really are fighting for everyday folks to make it just a little easier to afford college, a little easier to get your home weatherized and reduce your electric bill, a little easier to start a business if you want to start a business. And I think that idea of sort of an opportunity society is very, very important. But again, I think that one of the things people have to keep in mind is just how important it is to get out and vote. I think that we need a little more time to turn this around. I think the president needs a little more time, and we've got to keep fighting and shifting that focus from the most powerful to everyday folks. And
real quick, what is the one thing you take with you every day that your dad shared with you?
Well, I told you earlier, his line that said, at the end of the day, Judgment Day is more important than Election Day is really important. And the other thing was, never measure yourself based on how you compare to other people. Measure yourself compared to the potential God gave you. And so, don't too many people look for excuses and say, I'm okay because I'm a little better than that guy. Well, be as good as you can be.
All right. And Congressman, I want to thank you so much for being here at CPA-TV on Speaking with Andrea. It's been a pleasure speaking with you this evening. For more information about Tom and where he stands on issues and his background and what have you, you can visit perrielloforcongress.com. And that's all we have for you today. We want to thank you for watching Speaking with Andrea. We are information for the community by the community. Don't forget to visit positive-channels.com for more information on this program and other Positive Channels productions. Thank you so much. As Tom said, just get out there and vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for, just get out there and vote.
Matters a little bit.
It matters a little bit. Yeah, to him, it matters a little bit. Congressman, thank you so very much. Thank you so much. All right.